What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another long list of adjectives edition of the Star Wipe Lounge podcast. I am Owen, joined, of course, by John. How's it going, buddy?
It is very warm in this room.
Yeah, you know, it is August 1st. August is generally the hottest month of the year.
And we live in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, so...
For those of you who don't know, we're in Nevada, which is one of the hotter states in the United States.
In the summer, anyway.
In the summer, at least. And then the winter, we're like buried under snow.
Yeah, we're in Reno, not like Vegas.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're northern Nevada.
So it's hot as hell in here, but we sweat through it to bring you guys the content.
All of the best content. Just
so
fantastic stuff.
We talked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last week, but under the radar, for us anyway, a movie came out that neither of us have seen.
No.
The Lion King. Well, neither of us have seen, but we've seen it.
We've seen it.
Because it's the exact same film.
Yeah, even using the same script.
Yes, which we're going to get into that a little bit later. But we thought it'd be a perfect time to talk about Disney live action or just Disney remakes in general, because I hesitate to call The Lion King a live action remake.
That's what they bill it as, but again, there's nothing live action about this. Although I will say that the filming process for it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you know about?
Well, it's very similar to how they did The Jungle Book.
Well, like more specifically with this one, because with the last one they had a live actor, so they had like there was a motion capture element to it and everything like this. But this film was filmed in VR. Like the animators like did rough passes of the animations of everything that's supposed to happen, and then Jon Favreau, his cinematographer, it's Deschanel, it's Zooey Deschanel's dad.
Oh,
I forget his first name. I want to say like David Deschanel or something like that. And like other members of the crew put on HTC Vive headsets and had the wands and shot it using traditional cinematography like techniques, but in VR. It was weird. It's kind of cool, but weird.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, but weird. Which is, I think, how a lot of people describe the whole film.
Yeah.
Kind of cool, but weird.
I've heard it described as, a few people from Screen Rant have described it to me as, this feels like a Chinese knockoff of the original film, where like everything from the original film that you like is there, but like it's done by different voices and it sounds weird coming out of these different people. Like that
I've heard it described as the same film but without a soul.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we're not really going to get into the ins and outs of The Lion King specifically. We're to kind of use as a jumping off point as a broader discussion about Disney's practice of remaking all their classic animated films, what we like about them, what we don't like about them, what we see from them going forward, and maybe some specific films that we would either like to see remade or would really hate to see remade.
Yeah. But let's just start things off by talking about the films that have been remade so far. You could make the argument that this started back with Alice in Wonderland. Hell, you could even make the argument that this started as far back as 101 Dalmatians. But
there's a live action with that?
Yeah. Glenn Close was Cruella de Vil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like way back. We were kids. But I would make the argument that this really started back in, I can't remember the year, but Cinderella was a film that they released that a lot of people actually kind of, when you talk about Disney live action remakes, a lot of people don't talk about that movie. But you can make the argument that that was the one that started this current trend of Disney remakes. That film came out in 2015, according to IMDb.
2015?
It stars Kenneth Branagh and Lily James, along with Cate Blanchett.
That seems like it came out forever ago. Like 2010.
2015, bro.
Wow, yeah.
4 years ago.
Well, I have a theory about that as to why this one doesn't really get talked about in the same vein as something like Beauty and the Beast, because people were hyped for Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that film did big numbers in the box office, and also just everybody was talking about it. Everybody.
It's because our age group, the general, quote unquote millennial age group, doesn't really care about Cinderella, because the original came out in the 40s, 50s. It's one of Disney's old.
It's older, yes. And just on top of that, Cinderella as a story has been told a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there was the Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I would argue that our generation's Cinderella is probably Ever After,
which I remember liking Ever After. I haven't seen it in decades.
It was all right. I've got a really that film leaves a bad taste in my mouth because one of my exes was really into it. Like, it was her favorite movie.
Really?
It was Danielle's favorite.
Really?
Yeah. So it I've got personal connections to that film.
Was it because the main character's name was also Danielle?
Oh shit, it was.
It was. I remember.
I think that factored into it, but I don't think that was, because that's a pretty juvenile reason to like a movie.
Well, I mean, talking about Ever After for a second, that is a kind of interesting take on the story of Cinderella, because it gets rid of all the magical elements, adds actual historical figures, and it strays away from the Disney version of the story, because it wasn't associated with Disney at all.
No, I don't think so. I think it was I want to say Miramax or something like that. Which actually at the time Miramax I think was owned by Disney. So that might have been.
The only thing I remember about that movie is that Leonardo da Vinci's a character in it.
He is.
And at the very end,
he's like her pseudo godmother, because he kind of serves a lot of the same roles.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. And the one line I remember was right at the end when the prince goes to go rescue her from the bad situation that she's in, and he apologizes and calls her by her actual name because she's using a fake name the whole time, and she looks at him and she's like, say it again, really happy, and then he's like, I'm sorry, in a really pained way, and he's like, no, the part where you actually said my name for real, and it was kind of sweet, but it was just really fun. The way that he said the line I'm sorry and delivered that was fucking gold. Whoever that actor was, you nailed it.
Oh shit, he's a guy who he was one of those guys who you recognize him, but for the life of you never knew his name. I can't remember what it was, obviously.
Yeah, but the original Disney version of Cinderella is old as hell.
I mean, it's a much beloved film classic, obviously.
Yeah, but in comparison to Beauty and the Beast, in terms of how everyone in our age demographic grew up with that film.
And I mean, I would argue that with Beauty and the Beast, specifically the character of Belle, I bet you, if you just walking down the street ask 10 random people who's your favorite Disney princess, you'll get a wide variety of answers, but I guarantee you the one that you'll get duplicates of will be Belle.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Everybody, especially, I don't know.
I think young dudes really like Belle.
No, I think girls like Belle way more.
Because I've heard a lot of dudes say that Belle's their favorite Disney princess. Yeah.
I think.
Who's your favorite Disney princess, though?
Does Mulan count?
Yeah, she's a Disney princess.
Because
she's one of the official ones, yeah.
Because to me, Mulan is pinnacle of Disney 2D animation.
Yeah. Which we'll actually get to, because that movie had a trailer came out.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I got some things to say about it.
So do I.
So Beauty and the Beast was a big freaking
and that
deal.
they cast Emma Watson as Belle.
Yes. But that movie is problematic for a lot of reasons. If anybody has watched, Lindsay Ellis put out a video. I believe the video was actually called Thanks, I Hate It. And it was just about the problems with Beauty and the Beast, and how Beauty and the Beast was largely crafted in such a way that it was meant to kind of address the sort of stupid internet nitpicky stuff that people had with the original. Because the thing about Beauty and the Beast, unlike something like Lion King, is that it was a much more original film. There were original scenes, there were original characters. There was originality to that film.
Actual live actors.
I give it credit for that in a lot of ways. But the problem is that a lot of the stuff that they added was needless and just kind of pointless.
Well, here's the thing that I think a lot of these films are going to run into issues with, is that you're taking a film from the past and trying to bring it into 2019, and there's a lot of things like Beauty and the Beast as an example. a lot of people, when they watch that as an old, like you watch as a kid and you think it's a great love story, and then you watch it again growing up, and then it's like
very problematic.
Very problematic. Like a lot of people will point to Stockholm Syndrome. She was completely held against her will for a while.
Which that's something specifically that the 2017 film addresses.
Yeah, that they had that Disney has to like address these things that are problematic about their old films in the remakes. Like I didn't see Aladdin because I just avoid these movies completely.
Yeah, I avoid them for like largely ethical reasons to me.
Which we'll get into the ethics when we talk about Lion King a little bit more. But like in Aladdin, I read that they added in songs with Jasmine specifically saying that like, oh, why can't I be Sultan or whatever?
Yeah.
Which that's fine. That makes sense.
That's a legit point to raise.
But that's something that Disney's going to have to contend with.
Yeah.
As long as they keep doing this.
Yeah. Especially when they're looking to remake some of their older films. So for instance, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, we got The Jungle Book, which I don't really have anything to say about Jungle Book.
No, I don't have anything to say about Jungle Book.
It's one of those films that's like, this is barely a live action remake, but it was passable. I think the Bill Murray as Baloo was good casting.
Well, and also that's another one that we got a 90s live action version of.
Yes, we did.
That I actually thought was quite good.
That movie was the first movie that I remember as a child making me cry.
That one was good.
Was because in that movie when Baloo gets shot,
it's got John Cleese in it. It's got young Lena Headey in it. It's got Carrie Ewells in it.
It does have young Lena Headey.
Damn. Yeah, that version of the Jungle Book is good, and it deals with like the geopolitical situation with like India being a British colony and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that being a good film. And that was associated with Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a Disney film.
And it was a different take on the story. It wasn't just like, because from what I understand about the newer Jon Favreau Jungle Book is that it basically took the Kid Mowgli animated version and turned it into an updated thing.
Which, I mean, again, this is what these movies do. For the sake of this discussion, I'll let you know that The Jungle Book was the last one I watched. And that's mainly just because I have a lot of sentimental connection to The Jungle Book, specifically the character of Baloo. I've got a lot of connection to Baloo. Baloo is, to me, one of the more important Disney characters for me. So that's why I watched that movie, because I was like, Baloo, I'm all about it. Yeah,
but then the 90s live action, like actual live action, like there's no, like they use real animals in that movie.
Yes.
That's a different take on The Jungle Book.
It is.
Like
it's
completely different
the
take.
Jungle Book. It's more of like a Tarzan movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Because it's more about Mowgli being integrated into society and his rejection of that.
Yeah.
Which is much more of like a Tarzan meet Jane kind of situation. Or like George of the Jungle, or what the heck was that movie with Tim Allen where he finds out he has a kid with his ex-wife?
I have no idea.
Who like has been living in Africa for the last like 15 years. I don't fully remember. I remember enjoying the movie, but I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, it's
but people, I don't think people cared as much about, so I'm looking at the screen right now. Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Dumbo. No one gave a fuck about Dumbo.
And Dumbo got shit on. I was actually going to talk about, because like you talk about a lot of like the problematic things about Disney films.
A lot of problematic shit in Dumbo.
There's a shit ton of problematic stuff in Dumbo, which is probably why that movie is like a completely different movie. Like, again, I haven't seen it, and I feel really weird talking about these films from a position of having not seen them, but
we're talking about them more in the macro sense.
Talking about them, yeah, we're talking about them in generalities, so don't harp on us because we haven't seen these movies. But from what I've gathered based upon all my readings of the film and everything like that, the live action Dumbo is a completely different film. Doesn't really have anything to do with the original Dumbo, which is fine because that film straight up had Jim Crows.
Yeah.
Had crows named Jim.
Yeah. It's bad.
That's bad. That's a problem. That would be like if they remade Song of the South today, which we will get to. I've got some words about Song of the South.
When are we going to get to? Let's do it right now. Song of the South. Let's go.
Because we're going to talk about movies that we absolutely do not want to have them do. I was going to talk about Song of the South.
They would never do Song of the South.
You can't even get Song of the South.
Have you seen it?
Get it. I've seen it, but like in parts and clips and stuff, because like it is so impossible to get that film
So, fun fact, I've seen the entirety of Song of the South in a film class because the professor like got a copy of it from like fucking Malaysia or some shit.
Yeah, you need to do some like fucking backdoor like black market stuff to get that film.
He was so happy that he told us he was looking forever to find an actual copy, and the DVD menu is all messed up, but the movie is functionally
fine.
Yeah.
I wonder if through Screen Rant I could get a copy of it.
Good luck.
Because they're pretty good about, if like I put in a request for a movie, they're pretty good about hunting it down and getting me like a digital rip of it. So I wonder.
Put in the ask.
I'll be like, hey guys, I know that I don't need this for a video, but just out of my own morbid curiosity, can you guys get me some of this out?
But there is, there's a great line in Community where they're having like a flashback episode, and they're at this like ghost town, and the old like ghost town guy like goes after Troy with a gun, and he was like, we only remember the happy stuff, but that dude was so racist, like 1800s Disney style.
Yeah,
because back then Disney was hella racist, because everybody was hella racist back then.
It's true, but every time that a black character came up in like early Disney, it was your very stereotypical.
Yeah, it's bad.
Blackface looking black person.
It's bad.
It's really bad. Oh, nice. My mouse shipped.
But my general point was just looking at the distribution of these films. The ones that people actually give a shit about, and the ones that Disney seems to be investing their time and money in, are the ones that kind of came out in the late 80s, early 90s window.
Which coincidentally are the films that need being remade the least.
Exactly, because that was Disney was probably at the top of their game back then.
Yeah. And
but
I know
the
that
reason is
there's some legal stuff in the background, and there's stuff like in Walt's will that dictates what they have to do when it comes to certain Disney properties and things of that nature. And I know that there's like some background legal stuff, but we weren't gonna like get into too much of that because it's shrouded in mystery and hearsay, and we don't know exactly what's going on back there. But from like just a standpoint of like, these movies don't need to be made.
That's exactly it. The reason is it's all demographics to me.
It is.
That's all demographics because the time period in which the movies that are the movies that are primarily being remade, the ones they announced, i.e. Little Mermaid, Mulan, I don't remember the other ones. But like we just got Aladdin, we just got Lion King, we got Beauty and the Beast 2 years ago.
We've got casting information about the Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid, Mulan trailer.
Yeah.
They're all in the same window for when
late 80s, early 90s,
which is when people our age were growing up, and now we're all adults, and we're going to shell out money to see these remakes.
And we're at the age where we're having kids, and we want our kids to see the movies that we saw. So that's why I make the argument, like, maybe instead of remaking all these films, why not just remaster your originals, and you can do theater runs with them. If they remastered the original Aladdin, my ass would have gone to the theater and seen that. Just to be like, hey, I saw Aladdin in theaters again. And I remember seeing it when I was like a real little kid.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of those films. I don't remember seeing any of those films in theaters because I was really, really young. Maybe didn't go to movies that often when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It would be a really cool experience to see one of my like favorite beloved Disney films like remastered, like redo a lot of like boost the sound design, higher res, all this shit.
And I mean, like they're doing that because they're putting these movies out on Blu-ray, and things of that nature. Like, just do a theatrical run of them. I guarantee you people will go see them.
But will they make as much money?
Yeah, probably. As I said, somebody like me would go see it if it was just a remaster. And I guarantee you all of the people who are going to go see the remakes would go see a re-release of that film because it's such a beloved thing, and that's why they're going to go see the remake.
That just begs the question, why don't they do that? If it would legitimately make as much money, it would be as or more economical just to remaster them.
I mean, again, there's probably some business things that we aren't seeing.
True.
The numbers might not line up as much as I think that they would.
I mean, it makes sense on paper.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure remastering something is going to be
significantly cheaper.
So much cheaper. You don't have to hire new actors. You don't have to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like the amount of money it costs to make the new Lion King
So much.
So much.
So freaking much.
They have so many big name voice talent in this movie. They re-recorded all the songs. They did all this insane visual effects. You talked about the way they filmed it as just this weird, crazy, revolutionary thing that probably cost a shitload of money.
Probably. But I feel like this really comes down to, I feel, a situation where I'm looking at it as a battle between the Lion King remake and the Mulan remake. And let me explain what I mean by this. The Lion King remake was a film that, for the most part, literally was like line for line, shot for shot remake.
Can we talk about the writers thing real quick?
Yes, I was about to get to that.
Okay.
So this, like, so much so that there's a lot. Well, okay, maybe not a lot. There's a very vocal minority online right now who are very pissed off at the fact that the original writers of Lion King got no money for the remake.
Yeah, you can Google this. It's in big name publications.
Yeah, Variety talked about it. The
Vanity
Hollywood
Fair
Reporter talked about it. Vanity Fair talked about it. Everybody's talked about this. They have not seen a cent from this movie.
Even though the script is
basically their freaking work.
Yeah.
Like word for word. They aren't seeing any royalties. They aren't seeing anything. They aren't even seeing a fucking thank you from Disney.
Yeah.
Like, I can't quite speak to it. I'm pretty sure that they didn't even get credit.
Hence the ethical kind of repulsion to this movie specifically. Because at least, like you said, Beauty and the Beast was a different film for the most part.
It did some.
It had the same story
some
beats.
different stuff. Yeah.
And
I mean, Beauty and the Beast is a classic story. That is not a Disney story that's been around for centuries at this point. The first film version of Beauty and the Beast was the French version, La Belle et la Bête. I fucking totally just mispronounced that. But
hey, we've been to France. We should speak better French.
That version of the film, I believe, was the first film version of that story. And so that's not a Disney story, and so like there's a little bit less of an ethical.
It's the same story, but not the same script.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you could also make the argument, like, well, it's Lion King, it's just Hamlet, but like, shut up. That's not what we're talking about.
I mean, there's a difference between adapting the same story and using the same script.
Yeah,
there's a big difference.
But on the flip side of that, you have something like Mulan, which is going to be the first of the Disney remakes that I will support for a while. And the reason being that is a film where they're like, okay, we have this folk legend about Fa Mulan, who went and posed as a man and served in the army. And they did the 1998 Disney version,
which I adore.
Which I adore too. It's absolutely wonderful. You've got, her love interest, and you got Mushu, the little red dragon, and everything like that. But then this remake, they're going, nah, fam, we are sticking to how that folktale was. So there's not going to be a tiny little dragon. There's no love interest.
See,
they're just telling the story.
I am really interested in it as well. I agree with you there. It's just so hard for me not to feel so cynical about it.
Oh, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong.
Because the reason they're doing it isn't because they think that story is better or whatever. They're doing it because back then you couldn't really get box office in China, and now you can.
Yeah, and like, I get
the story.
But
the original Mulan Disney movie shits on the folktale a little bit.
Nah, not a little bit, a lot.
So Chinese audiences would hate it.
And like, yeah, I see that, and I'll give you that, and that's true, and I understand having a problem with that, and I definitely do as well.
It's not like a problem. It's just it's hard for me not to feel so cynical about it.
To me, like, it's a lot less creatively bankrupt. Which is my main thing.
Because they're being forced to go in a different direction. For box office numbers.
Yes. But so, like, they aren't using the same exact script. They aren't, like, basically just feeding us the same movie that we
Is it even going to even have songs?
I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. I mean, at the same time, it's Disney, so you feel like it sort of has to. But
the 98 Jungle Book didn't have songs at all. There's no music. I mean, no, like, original songs.
That was a very serious film. And this film kind of looks like it's going to go.
I kind of want to go rewatch that now.
The 98 Jungle Book?
Yeah.
Dude, it holds up.
I want to see if it holds up.
It does. I watched it a couple of years ago. It holds up. Yeah. I still cried when Baloo got shot.
But yeah, I agree with you. I am much more interested in seeing this live action version of Mulan than any previous.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, ones. Like this is also Mulan is also a big one for inclusive reasons, because that's another we're seeing right now in Hollywood this trend more towards casting actors who aren't white in big roles, and that is a film where the entire cast is of Asian descent.
Yeah.
And which is like I support that 100%. I get behind that, and I want to be there to support it for that reason.
No, they couldn't get someone French to play Belle. Come on.
Okay, I'll give you that. They cast like one of the most British people to ever British.
I know. I bet France was pissed.
No, France was so pissed, dude. And
I mean, they did it similarly with Aladdin as well.
That's true. They did it with that as well. That was certainly, there was a lot more ethnic. I'm trying to think how to word this in like a way that doesn't sound horrible. A lot more non-white representation.
Yes.
Let's go with that.
And I mean, it's great. I want to see that. But again, it's so hard for me to not feel cynical about it because...
And I get it.
Yeah.
I feel cynical about most Disney releases. I even have a hard time... I mean, not too much of a hard time because I'm all about it. But I do have a hard time going to go see Marvel movies sometimes.
Well,
and it's like why I had a hard time like getting excited about Avengers Endgame topping the records when it's like, okay, cool. Now Disney beat their own movie. Because they now owned Avatar.
They own everything.
Now Disney has the top 5 highest grossing films of all time.
I mean, seeing a Disney film now is kind of how I feel about shopping on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel great about it, but...
You've kind of just accepted it.
You kind of accept it, and honestly, I feel like there's no way to, like, quote-unquote, ethically consume anything.
It's true.
So you're not gonna, there's no way to quote unquote ethically consume your entertainment.
And I mean, like, it's just one of those things where, like, if you're somebody who rails against Disney being like this big, big corporation and they're just out to make money and like they're just have this stranglehold on the industry, you're right. I agree with you 100%. And that's chill. Go watch independent movies. Go watch A24. Go watch Blumhouse. Go watch the stuff that those people are putting out.
Dude.
We talked about this on episodes.
You see the trailer for The Lighthouse?
I did.
Dude.
Looks dope.
I don't even know what that's about. But
I don't either, but we're going.
I want it.
Like, we're going to see it. Like, if you're like very anti-Disney, like, go watch independent films. And like, I wouldn't argue that either of us are anti-Disney. We are pro-film. So like, we'll watch, Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man Far From Home or, a lot of stuff that Disney puts out, but then we'll also go watch Lighthouse and we'll watch, Midsummer, and we'll watch fucking all these other small movies.
I just think the Lion King movie specifically just left a bad taste in my mouth.
It did. And as I said, like, I'll go watch Disney movies, but there's like a line that I'm like, okay, I'm just personally not going to support this.
Yeah.
I don't put down someone for going to go see the
And to me, there's a difference between me going, in terms of quote unquote supporting Disney, I think there's a difference between me going to see Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man Far From Home versus seeing The Lion King, because like we said at the top of the show, I've already seen The Lion King.
Yeah.
I've seen the movie. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it just in a
parroted back to me by different voices
that look in different animal avatars that can't emote the same.
Yeah.
Which is one of the biggest complaints I've heard about it is that, I mean, we talked about this when the trailer came out. Like, everyone pegged this, that there's no way photorealistic animals can emote or elicit emotional reactions from the audience in the same way as the stylized hand-drawn cartoons.
It's going to look weird.
It can't be done.
If you try to over-emote, the animals are going to look weird. But if you try to maintain that certain level of realism,
it's not going to have the same impact.
They just don't. It just doesn't mesh the same way.
Yeah, but I mean,
we've been railing a bit here, so I think that maybe we should take a moment to flip it and ask, what Disney films would we like to see remade?
Would I like to see?
Maybe films that came out, did all right, but don't get the attention that they deserve.
I got one.
Hit me with it, Owen.
Mostly because it does feature a lot of human characters, so you'd have good opportunity for live actors, and I think that the animal characters in this film would work well in CGI. I'm just gonna do the two because these two, especially the second one, are some of my favorite Disney movies ever made, which is The Rescuers.
Oh yes,
especially Rescuers Down Under.
Down Under.
Rescuers Down Under is probably my favorite older Disney movie.
My favorite older Disney movie. Well, I mean, not really older. Mine actually comes at the beginning of the quote-unquote Disney Renaissance in the 80s and 90s, but isn't one that I think should be remade, is The Great Mouse Detective, which is kind of in the same vein. But I argue that shouldn't be remade just because it's perfect the way it is and should be left alone. But it's also not so bad that I'm like, don't remake it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Rescuers, specifically Rescuers Down Under, it has a pretty, like... It's a pretty adult story. Like, there's a kidnapping involved, and there's like actual mortal peril.
Yeah, there's like straight up like a hunter who's like gonna kill a kid.
Yeah,
like it gets dark.
I think that done properly, it could work really, really well as a live action film. And I think that there's enough time in between the original and any kind of remake.
Because that was like
that was in the 70s, I think.
I'm
not totally sure, but
keep talking and I'll look it up.
You know, I think the story itself would work well in a live action format. And
snap.
When was it?
It's a lot younger than we thought.
90?
90.
Oh wow, it's the same age as me.
November 16th, 1990. Yeah, I thought that was like 70s too.
I think the original
Ava Gabor and Bob Newhart.
Yeah, like, Bob Newhart.
Like, you think that's an older fucking movie.
Well, I'm pretty sure the original Rescuers, like, there's a pretty big gap between the original Rescuers and Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah, the Rescuers was 1977.
Okay, yeah, that's a big gap.
Yeah. 29 years, right? No?
13 years.
Well, no, I'm thinking. I'm reading this. Or sorry, it's the 29th Disney animated film. That's what I was reading. Sorry. Yeah, because math.
But yeah, I think that one done well. I would very much like to see that done. I think it could work.
And yeah, I think that either one of those films would work pretty well with live action remakes, specifically Down Under.
Yeah, because there's quite a few human characters. I mean, the whole conflict of the story are two human characters.
Yeah. And the rescuers are just kind of there.
They're there to rescue him from the other human character.
But they are largely almost kind of secondary to the kid character, I feel. But that would be pretty great. My film that I argue would be ripe for remaking. This is actually one that we were out celebrating your birthday. Was that last weekend?
Yes.
Feels like it was a lot longer ago. But yeah, it was last weekend. And yeah, happy 29th birthday.
Thanks, dog.
You're almost an old man.
I know.
Yeah, right?
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, I get up in the morning and I have to drink my Metamucil and you know.
So you get plenty of fiber.
Yeah, I got to get all my fiber. But anyways, we were out and about and we ran into some buddies of mine, Josh and Tony. And we got talking about Disney remakes. And one of them mentioned offhandedly, like, what about Atlantis, The Lost Empire? There's a film that it came out, I think it was like around the year 2000, something like that. They marketed the crap out of it. And the movie came out, everyone enjoyed it, and then fucking just forgot about it.
I never saw it.
Well, like, here's the thing. That would be a fantastic film to take and turn into like a Indiana Jones type, like, rollicking adventure film.
That's exactly what that should be.
It's this team of people trying to get to Atlantis and then trying to save Atlantis. Like, that to me sounds like a live action Disney movie.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And it's for the most part, it's all human characters. Like, I think there's like one little like animal companion that's not really a character, but it's all human characters. So like, easy to do in live action. And as I said, it's a property that Disney has. They've been sitting on it. They did like some like TV series, I think, with it, and that's about it. And there was a first-person shooter from Monolith, the guys who did Alien vs. Predator.
Really?
Or at least it was using the Lift Deck engine. I can't remember fully. But, and that's about it. That's all they've really done with it. And I think that would be a fantastic, as I said, opportunity to do like a rollicking family adventure film.
Yeah, I feel like there aren't enough of those anymore.
No, we don't really get those.
I mean, we got make fun of them for the memes all you like. That was exactly the niche that the National Treasure movies filled.
Yeah. I feel like, as weird as it is to say, I feel like the most recent film that would kind of fall into that fold would be Aquaman. Because that was a film where it was basically like, we need to go get a MacGuffin, and we got to like solve a bunch of puzzles to find said MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically the format of that type of film. And I would say that would probably be the closest that we got.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more specifically like super family oriented.
Yeah.
Because the National Treasure ones were very specifically like they were PG.
Yeah.
For a reason.
And they've been working on a third National Treasure for like the last like 12 years. Like, can we just get it, please? Because I feel like Nick Cage needs to like buy a fourth house. Or something.
And also, we could just use more memes.
And we just use more memes. Like, anytime that something happens,
he should steal the Statue of Liberty.
Ooh.
In National Treasure 3.
Well, let's see. What has he done? He's no. You know what? I think National Treasure 3 is going to lead to. He's going to storm Area 51.
Ooh.
Maybe that's what this whole like storming Area 51 thing is.
Marketing campaign.
It's like they're like, we need a shit ton of extras for the scene where we're storming Area 51, and we don't want to pay anybody. So how about we just like make this meme, get a bunch of idiots from the internet to run through the Nevada desert, and then
yes, because you know that they only shoot on location.
Yeah. Only shoot on location.
Nick
Cage needs to go to vacation.
They're not going to build an Area 51 set or anything. No,
fuck that. No, they're going to go to the actual Area 51. And that kind of makes sense, honestly, because at the during Book of Shadows, National Treasure 2, they like set up this presidential book that has all these secrets, and the president specifically is like, check out this thing on page like 47 or something like that. He's like, I want you to look into it for me. And it like sets up that's going to be the third one. It's totally going to be Area 51. Come on, just do it. Don't be a coward. Nick Cage, you've got nothing else better to do. What the fuck is Nick Cage doing?
He could star in the Atlantis movie.
He could star in the Atlantis movie. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Or he could be the Atlantean princess.
Well, I'm trying to think of other Disney films that I think would work well. I'm thinking less in terms of like stuff that they should do, because I don't think they like should like do any.
No, and they certainly should not do Atlantis, like, because that film did not do great at the box
I'm trying
office.
to think of ones that I think would work and kind of deserve one.
Yeah, for me, that's the more important thing, is like, does it deserve it?
I always thought, like, when they started announcing all these, like, I think when they announced Beauty and the Beast, I'm like, I think the best one would be Mulan, and they're already doing it.
Yeah.
So they got me there. I think the visual potential for Little Mermaid's up there.
Yeah.
Again, they're going to have to address some problems in the story.
Oh, yeah.
Big problems.
I mean, this is a woman who literally, like, does all this stuff for a man.
Well, and that he, like... he like falls in love with her because she doesn't have a voice.
Yeah, and then she like disappears for a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, look at that hottie! I'm going over there." Like, sorry guys, but Prince, whatever the fuck, is not a good person.
I actually last spring with our boy JD filmed a high school production of Little Mermaid, and they kind of worked around the fact that she doesn't have a voice thing pretty well.
Production companies included the Walt Disney Company.
Apparently
Google
like really wanted me to know stuff I already knew about the Little Mermaid.
Anyway, they had a little workaround for that where they would have like, they added in a couple songs where it's just her like inner monologue while she's like trying to communicate with people. It worked pretty well, honestly.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of one that I would hate to see them attempt to remake.
Well, let's hold on to that. Unless you feel you're ready to transition into the.
I can't think of any more that I think would work super effectively.
All right, then let's move on into let's get negative again. Let's
to,
rage.
Back to the negative. Don't touch Fox and the Hound.
Oh, fuck no. Do not touch Fox and the Hound. Please.
It can't be done.
Because
we have this thing. This is something that I have observed in the world of video games that I think is kind of seeping in to the film world, where because we have the technology now, we have to use the technology to make everything look as realistic as possible.
That would just be weird with Fox and the Hound.
Where sometimes a stylized, artistic version of something just works better.
So you're talking about the Final Fantasy VII syndrome.
Yeah, we're we got to make everything look super photoreal when you could have take Zelda Wind Waker, for example.
Yeah.
Really cartoony, stylized, cel-shaded art style that holds up really well. I remember when it first came out, people were kind of iffy on it, but
people were like, get this cartoon trash.
But it sort of evolved over time to be one of the more beloved Zelda games ever made.
And I mean, compare how even the non-HD version of Wind Waker, the original GameCube version of Wind Waker, looks against Twilight Princess.
Exactly.
Twilight Princess looks like ass. It came out after Wind Waker. I will play Wind Waker all day, every day.
But here's the thing about, say they try to do Fox and the Hound. Instead of using the technology to maybe do a new, interesting, stylized, artistic version of it, they would just Lion Kingify it and try to make a super, super hyper-realistic looking fox and a super, super hyper-realistic looking dog. And I don't want to see that.
Let me have my adorable ass fucking fox and dog movie. Yeah. Just leave it be.
That's one of my all-time favorite Disney animated films.
Yeah, it's definitely one of mine. I actually have, there was this weird thing that I got out of a cereal box. Or my mom got it out of a cereal box. It's this little thing that's no matter what you do, you can't get it to fall over.
Yeah.
It's just always weighted, so it always sits up. And it has a fox on it. Topper. Right?
I don't remember their names.
I think it was Topper. And it has that on it. And my mom told me, I remember she pulled it out of a cereal box when I was really young. And she said to me, she's like, when you're a big, when you're a big head honcho somewhere or a big business guy, or you're really rich and famous or something, I'm going to come visit your office and that better be sitting on your desk. And it's actually in a bin up there somewhere. So I still do have it. The foxes' names are, because I need to frickin' know, because Copper. And it's a young Kurt Russell.
Really?
Copper. Yes.
Wow.
Kurt Russell with Mickey Rooney as Todd. Although it wasn't that young of a Kurt Russell. It was 1981.
But yeah, I mean...
Did you know that Kurt Russell was actually Walt Disney's the last thing that Walt Disney was reported to have said was talking about Kurt Russell?
Dude, Kurt Russell is dope.
Because, what was it? He, wanted to cast Kurt Russell in a role in some movie, and then he died.
Yeah, but back to the thing about video games... It's one thing that I think is cool about indie games is that they tend to go for a really specific aesthetic
because they don't have the budget to go hyper realistic.
Exactly.
But they play with it, and something like Shovel Knight, or Mark of the Ninja,
or Hollow Knight,
or
Okami.
Well, Okami was big budget.
Or
it's just old.
Or what was that? Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah. These are games that we will be looking at these games decades from now and they will still look as good. But, fucking the latest Call of Duty is going to look like balls in 10 years.
And that's the thing about Lion King, and if they attempted Fox and the Hound, is that it's never going to look... it looks good. I'm not gonna sit here and say it looks like shit.
It's gonna look good now, but it's going to go downhill. It will only ever get worse looking.
And Lion King has a bigger cast of characters. It has a more sweeping landscapes. Fox and the Hound is just basically two characters.
Yeah, it's two characters in the woods,
and that's basically
kicking it.
And that's basically the movie.
And then there's the grouchy old man, and there's the sweet old lady.
So if you attempted to make that Lion King style, it would be a train wreck.
Yeah, I don't think that it would work very well. And especially don't touch its straight to DVD sequel. Fucking nope. Don't do that.
I didn't even know that existed.
You don't want to. Like, if you like Fox and the Hound, don't avoid that movie at all costs. At one point, there's like a band. It's weird. It's real bad, guys. Which actually leads into mine. My argument would be, please don't remake any of the fucking straight to DVD Disney movies. That's actually an aside. The one that I really want them to not remake, just because it is so ridiculously problematic, is Pocahontas.
Ooh. Yeah.
You imagine how, like, fucked that movie would be if it came out today?
Well, there was a 2005, I think it was actually a Terrence Malick film called New World.
Yeah.
That was a super hyper realistic version of the story. And that's more historically accurate version of the story. And it's pretty fucked.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that the whole situation is fucked. But I mean, like, try to Disney-fy New World.
You can't.
You can't. Like,
I mean, they found a way in the original Pocahontas, but...
Well, that's just because, like, some fucking horn dogs in the 90s were like, hey, I have an idea. Let's make this character who historically was only, like, 13 years old, a, like, 18-year-old smoking fucking hottie. And then let's have Mel Gibson try to, like, get with her.
Yeah, I mean... And that's just one of the problematic things of Pocahontas.
And, yeah, and again, Pocahontas is a classic example of white man saving the... non-white people.
I mean,
largely because John Smith does a lot to like save them. You would make the argument that Pocahontas was ultimately the one who saved the day, and like, yeah, sure, but like,
to the film's credit, Pocahontas does have a lot of agency.
She does. I will give it that.
Like
in terms
of the original, in the actual person historically, especially as portrayed in New World, not so much.
No.
So to Disney's credit, the character had a lot of agency, did a lot of things. Like, she was an active protagonist.
Yeah.
She's the one who kind of saves the day at the end.
A little bit. But it's like, just her relationship in general with Smith is...
Not to mention all the race stuff.
Not great. Plus all the race stuff. I'm all for, like, please, by all means, make more films starring Native Americans. And give Native Americans a more prominent role in films. Tell their stories. Do that. Go for it. Cool. Just not that one, please.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Because you can't... There's no way... If you want to do that story justice in any way, you can't Disney-fy it.
No. Because that was a very not Disney event.
No.
Like, that is a historical... That is a period in time, historically, that is just fucked all the way across the board. There's nothing sweet. There's nothing kind. There's nothing Disney-y about that period in history.
No, it's
a horrific time.
Yeah, it's it makes you feel bad to be white.
One of the many things that makes you feel bad to be white.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's like every single day I get on Twitter and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm white. Fuck.
God damn it.
But every day I watch TV. Oh yeah, I'm white. Fuck.
We did some shit.
We did some shit, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry. And like, I'm sorry in an actual way, not a Comcast way.
I just think of South Park oil spill, the BP guy, like the dude like laying nude on a bearskin rug, being like,
yeah,
sorry. Sorry, we destroyed the earth.
Fucking A. Not like, sorry, here's, sorry you want to leave us. We'll give you 3 free months of our shitty service and then make you have to go through this ringer again.
Yeah.
Fucking A. But anyways, so don't remake either of those, please. Especially Fox and the Hound for my own personal reasons, but Pocahontas just for the sheer fact that if you're going to address that issue,
you need to address it. We mentioned on the top that there's a lot of things that Disney has to do with these remakes to like bring an older story into modern times. A lot of people, not to get political, a lot of people are like, PC culture's ruining America, blah, 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 blah. And A, I think that's a stretch.
Yeah.
Like a major stretch. And B,
if anything, it's just making it better.
Like, yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything specifically, so I probably shouldn't say it, but occasionally it can swing a little too far, but that's only because it was swung so far in the other direction for all time.
I will say that, like, I'm not the kind of person who thinks that you shouldn't be able to say whatever it is that you want. Like, if you wanna be an asshole and just say like horrifically non-PC stuff, cool, go for it. I certainly have those moments where like I kind of want to say something not PC. You know, when I'm hanging around with friends and like I realize that the situation that it's a bit more appropriate to make a joke. But like you need to recognize, like you need to be okay with the knowledge that there's going to be consequences.
Yes, that's the thing. Because people always say, "Oh, but I'm free to say whatever I want." It's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you are.
You're not free from the consequences of that speech.
You're free to say something horrible, and then I'm free to tell you that you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
so I guess my point is that there's a lot of stuff they're doing. The idea that PC culture is ruining America is fucking absurd. Don't even get into it.
And note that like I want to clarify something right here. I'm saying that it's okay for you to say stupid shit and then have me say that you're being stupid. It's not okay for you to go out and do stupid shit.
Oh yeah,
like don't be one of those people who's like calling the cops just because there's a black family in a park. Like don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that fucking asshole because you're a terrible fucking piece of shit.
Because A, you're terrible, and B, you're gonna get memed into oblivion.
Oh yeah, you are. But like if you just want to like make a black joke to your buddies, like go for it.
Okay.
Someone's going to call you a racist, so just get ready for it.
As they should.
But you can do that.
But remember back when Beauty and the Beast came out and Disney was like, what's his name? LePew?
Yeah, LePew.
Like, LePew is going to be, like, openly gay now.
Ooh, yeah, Josh Gad's character's going to be gay.
And wasn't there, like, a theater being like, oh, we're pulling the movie because there's a gay character in it?
There were a lot of places like that were going to pull it. And then, like, what it came down to in the movie was one moment in the film when he, like, at the end of the film, they're all, like, dancing around with all, like, rescued fucking silverware and tablecloths and everything that got turned back into humans. And he winds up dancing with a guy, and you see him, like, make eyes at the guy, and then that's it. That's the only hint at him being gay.
But, yeah, I have cynicism when it comes to like, the Mulan movie, for example, how they're changing it because I think the primary motivation is Chinese box office numbers. I think there's a lot of people out there who feel like certain changes like that are only to like appease the PC people.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is true. I honestly think it's more about equal representation.
Yeah, because I don't think that it's to appease the PC people. I think it's to like give a disenfranchised group of people their chance to like be represented.
Especially, I mean, we've been talking about the older Disney films and that they're really, really problematic.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a case to be made for remaking some of these films and addressing the problematic nature of some of the films.
Some of them, yes, but something like Lion King. Wasn't really anything problematic about Lion King.
No, but like Little Mermaid, for example, that's one that's forthcoming, could address a lot of the like underlying misogynist, sexist issues in the film.
Sure, 100%.
And Beauty and the Beast tried.
Please stay out of our comment section about the whole, like, they're blackwashing a white character bullshit. I don't give a shit. I just don't even.
I'm not even going to address that.
Good. I had to.
Yeah, I mean, Beauty and the Beast tried to, address some of the issues. Aladdin did some stuff. So, I think I'm generally down on the Disney remakes, but from that perspective,
you can kind of understand.
You can understand them. Again, it's mostly there can be some positives for creative bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Because these are beloved films that people grew up with that do have a lot of problems in some aspects. So
addressing
those issues in those older films can be a positive thing.
Yeah.
While Disney makes money hand over fist.
I will say this is a topic we kind of went out on a tangent here that I feel like is something that we need to do an entire episode about, which is representation.
Oh yeah.
In cinema. Something that we've been kind of avoiding talking about.
Well, we're two rural born white boys.
So it's a little bit of difficulty getting it. But I have a friend, Diane. She's really big into the discussion about all that sort of stuff, especially when it comes to Asian representation in film, because she herself, she's Chinese of descent.
Yeah.
And she is going to be coming into Reno end of August.
Nice.
So maybe I will talk to her about getting her on, and we will have her on to discuss it and lend some actual fucking credence to what we're talking about. And maybe we'll learn some stuff, because really that's what you should be doing when you're going out and having a discussion about this kind of thing. You should be seeking to learn.
Yeah. Like,
whether you think that it's wrong to be making Ariel a black woman, or you think that it's the greatest decision Disney's ever made, whatever your stance on any of that sort of thing, I think that whenever you enter into discussion, you should try to have as much of an open mind and try to learn something.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's generally a positive thing.
Yeah. There's nothing but benefits from having more and more people involved in creative ventures.
Yeah. And
you get nothing from closing the door on people when it comes to making stuff.
And especially if you look at the Disney back catalog, there's a lot of white shit.
There is a shit ton of white shit. Holy God, that might be the whitest company to ever have existed. Like next to like the fucking Kraft people. And because they literally make crackers.
Wow. Okay. Well done. But it goes back to, I think we said this in our Black Panther review way back in the day.
Yeah, where it's like, this is important to a lot of people.
Like, if
we aren't going to shit on it.
If it bothers you that they're casting Ariel as a black woman, really examine why that bothers you. And just because it bothers you or it's not important to you doesn't mean it's not important to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if it legitimately bothers you, examine that, please.
See, I will say, when it comes to the Ariel thing, I've actually known quite a few people who like legitimately don't ever get bothered by this stuff and are usually like all for it. But the reason why they're like upset about Ariel specifically is because like that's a ginger. And like as far as characters, we don't really get ginger characters.
I guess.
But I'm like, is she a ginger or is she just a redhead? Because we have a lot of redheads.
They didn't really draw her with freckles, did they? I don't think they did.
She might have. I don't fully remember. But I've had a lot of people being like, can't we just keep the one ginger Disney princess? And I'm like, guys, you've got Merida from Brave.
True.
And she's like Irish.
She's actual ginger.
She's Irish as fuck. Like, she ain't going to be turned into a black woman anytime soon. She's Irish as fuck. Or Scottish as fuck. Sorry, not Irish. I don't mean to offend the Scottish and the Irish.
You better watch out in the UK,
I know that
dude.
They actually really hate it when they get mixed up.
Sorry.
I apologize. I misspoke. She is Scottish as fuck.
I know, we've been walking through a minefield just now.
Oh, God, we have. I guarantee you we pissed off somebody. Oh, I am going to get... Cancel culture is coming for us.
We're doing our best, okay?
Cancel culture is coming for us. Hashtag cancel Starwipe Lounge. Whew, buddy. Please don't. I mean, I feel like we're doing our best to try to talk around these situations.
We're two rural white boys, and we didn't have a single black person in our high school.
No. The closest thing we had was I have an adoptive cousin. I have two adoptive cousins who are black.
So we are obviously not authorities on this.
No. And like, honestly, if at any time we're talking about something like this, or we're talking about something adjacent to this, and we say something that offends you, please feel free to message us on any of the platforms. Tell us what it was that we said and why it offended you, and we will learn from it. Because again, you gotta seek to learn.
Yeah.
Now, if what we said that offended you is straight up stupid, like you got offended that we liked The Last Jedi, then please fuck right off.
Or you thinking that the casting of Ariel is a good thing makes you a race traitor, then you can fuck off.
Okay, yeah, if you use the phrase race traitor, please feel free to fuck right off. I swear.
That's actual language people use, but let's not We're a movie podcast. What did we do? How did this happen, John?
Fuck, dude. I brought up Pocahontas. That's how this happened.
How did this happen?
Like, here's the thing. I think that it's as I said, it's an important ass subject that we got to talk about. As I said, I'll talk to my buddy Diane about
and also you like I didn't really thought about that perspective of kind of like quote unquote fixing problematic things in the older films. That thought hadn't even crossed my mind as a positive thing coming out of these films. I had a kind of narrow view of like these are kind of creatively bankrupt, soulless money grabs. But I didn't really consider that representation could be a really positive thing to come out of these, despite my misgivings of Disney's motivations. So,
but again, like quote unquote fixing things isn't always a good thing. In the case of Beauty and the Beast, they're trying to, as I pointed out, they're trying to fix a lot of things that don't need fixing or that are just inherent to the original story, which, as I said, Lindsay Ellis did an entire video on it, and she did a much better job of explaining the points than I will. So I will have her video linked in the description of this episode, along with anything else that I think is relevant to this discussion. We touched upon some pretty heavy topics, so there's some stuff that I'll probably have linked down there for you to peruse. But yeah, so Owen, any final closing thoughts in regards to Disney remakes? Specifically,
Disney remakes specifically, they are a mixed bag. I feel like, again, the specific movies they're targeting has nothing to do with the quality of film that they think they'll get out of it. It's all based on demographics, age groups, etc.
It's all money, baby.
And as interested as I am to see the new Mulan film, I think they're going in a different creative direction solely for Chinese box office numbers.
Yeah. Now, quick question. I've straight up gone so far as to use the term boycotting when I refer to my own way of going about these Disney remakes, but I'm going to break that for Mulan. Will you be going to go see Mulan?
I will go see Mulan. I mean, the main reason I haven't seen the Disney remakes leading up to Lion King is I just wasn't interested.
It's just an interest thing. It's not like an actual like moral.
The Lion King was the one that got me on terms of unethical grounds because of the writers thing.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
That to me is messed up. Like I wasn't really interested in Beauty and the Beast. I wasn't really interested in Jungle Book. Was not interested in Aladdin. Like I just don't care. But Lion King got me kind of fired up because of the writers thing, and that's
actually specifically why we did this episode.
Yes.
By the way, it's the whole writer situation.
And that the Lion King is still in theaters and still making a ton of money.
Which means we can piggyback off of it.
Sure we can.
With SEO.
So that's my general take. There are some good that can come from them.
Yeah.
And another perspective that I didn't really touch on is the idea of, young kids, like this is their version of this movie, even though, like we said before, you could remaster one of these and put it in theaters and kids can see it in theaters for the first time.
Well, there's nothing stopping kids from watching these movies at home.
Yeah, but I mean, the theater going experience is different.
Thing. And again, like we speak to movie going experiences a lot.
And there's something to be said for having like your own version of something.
Yeah.
Like the teen comedy is a very popular genre, and not every teen comedy is the same, but I feel like every age group has their version of the teen comedy.
Like ours was super bad.
And like
our brother and sister, they had
American Pie. And kids who are probably like in high school now or in their like between 15 and 20 have Booksmart now.
They could have Booksmart. It got a pretty limited release, but they could have Booksmart.
Actually, they actually read a whole thing about it had a super.
Did it have a much bigger release?
Yeah,
I thought that was like
it just didn't have a big box office.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, so I feel like I agree with you on a lot of those points. So I don't really have much in the way of closing thoughts. I'm just kind of at this point. This is the first time that I am legitimately hyper curious about what our audience has to say about this whole situation, because this is a very contentious situation. It seems like everybody has their own different like viewpoints on the Disney remake situation. So I want to know, we want to know, what you think about Disney remakes. Do you think that it's a creatively bankrupt way about going about things and it's purely for money? Or do you see it as an opportunity for Disney to fix their past mistakes? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening to our audio stuff, please, first of all, thank you. Our audio stuff has actually been on an uptick recently. So it's pretty great. Our numbers are slowly going up.
Tell your friends.
So keep telling your friends. We love each and every single one of you who listens to us. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, all the major ones. I think there's a couple of platforms that we're going to be looking into moving into here in the near future. So we'll have more word on that. You can let us know your answer to all this stuff by tweeting us. We are at Starwipe Lounge. Use the hashtag Starwipe Lounge. Get in your answers. Let us know what you think in that case. Or you can get a hold of us individually. I am at Bender Waffles and Owen here is at OwenScott_P. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Excuse me. Owen is more active on Instagram than I am on.
Man, I need to get Twitter. Back to posting, man.
You do got to get back to posting.
It's been lazy.
A little bit. Well, you're going backpacking this weekend. Take a lot of pictures.
We'll see.
I'm sure
I'm trying to go very phone free this weekend.
Well, just take your camera then.
I don't know if there's going to be room for my camera. We'll see.
Yeah. You'll figure it out. Just take the SIM card out of your phone and then just basically just have it as a point and shoot.
Maybe.
That might be a good way to go.
Is it a removable SIM card? I don't even know.
Or fuck, I'll give you one of my many old cell phones and just use it as a point and shoot.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah. Because I think that would be a great opportunity. Because, yeah, Owen's going backpacking. That's why we're recording this on a Thursday as opposed to our usual Saturday recording.
Yeah.
But also, I'll be trying to get back to being consistent on days that these have been posted. I know that Once Upon a Time review was posted Tuesday, I think. And the episode before that was posted on Monday, which that's entirely my bad. We will get back to the Sunday morning postings as best we can. Also, just while we're kind of cleaning up shop here a little bit, next week, we are going to be having a improved audio quality because I literally moments before this podcast ordered some microphones.
Yeah, you had opened up the software to record and you're like, oh shit.
And I was like, oh shit, I just got an email. Oh, they're in stock. I got to order.
B&H, let's go.
And so like I went and ordered some podcast microphones, specifically broadcast grade microphones. And so we're going to be having some upgrades. We got a lot of upgrades coming within the next few months. Things are going to be looking good. We're just going to be improving the podcast overall is the plan. So I hope that you stick around for all that. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Next week, we will be talking with Esh about the current state of modern animation. We'll be talking about Steven Universe and Adventure Time and Gravity Falls and all these like big time animated shows that came out. I'm sure you'll touch upon Regular Show because I know you like Regular Show.
I love Regular Show.
We'll touch upon Rick and Morty because that's, obviously like a big animated one. And then we'll even go so far back as I want to talk about Metalocalypse.
Yes.
On the show. Because I was thinking today, we both love Metalocalypse and we have not spoken about it on the podcast.
I don't think it's that like influential of a thing.
I don't give a shit. We talked about like all sorts of random stuff. We're going to talk about Metalocalypse.
We talked about Patterson.
We talked about Patterson, bro. Which actually I listened to that episode a couple of days ago with me and Katie. We listened to that episode. She actually sounded kind of interested in it. So who knows? You might have just got a Patterson.
Go watch Patterson.
Go watch Patterson and Overlord and Metalocalypse and any movie that makes you happy, that sparks joy in your life. And we'll catch you next time. So be sure to look out for that. Same bad time, same bad channel.